Welcome to Beyond the Campfire, the Dead by Daylight podcast, where we dive into the stories, secrets, and strategies behind the horrors and heroes within the fog. My name is Dogbomb, and I am joined by my co-host, Lemon. Hello, Lemon.
Hi, Dogbomb. How are you?
I am good. I'm warm. It's still relatively warm in the UK. I am also kind of tired. I've done a lot of IRL streams this last week, so I'm a little tired from them. But yes, I'm very, very well, thank you.
Any new, exciting news?
I have become a Twitch partner. Third time of applying.
That's amazing.
Third time of badgering and chatting to Twitch support. Tried to find out what's going on, and they finally caved in and accepted.
No more trouble from that guy.
Yeah, so I need to read terms of service now, I guess. It's been 6 years, and finally I need to read terms of service and see
Well,
what
have
I'm doing.
fun with that.
Thank
Wow.
you. Thank you. Any news from your end, Lemon?
Yes.
Tell me.
Also very big and very exciting. Not as big as your news. But I have played a few killer games.
Ooh. Any in particular?
I have played Legion.
I think we should talk about that later. That's exciting.
And then I played a bit of Naughty Bear Travel.
Oh.
And I feel, Doctor. I tried the Doctor one game. So yeah.
So switching out the killer now?
Maybe. Maybe it's, what do you say? Hasta la vista, baby, to the survivors.
Hasta la vista, baby survivors.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll miss you. It's always nice playing with you when we do Survivor, but
You won't miss me when I'm the killer.
I can see you've got murder in your eyes. Do you remember what you asked the listeners last week, Lemon?
I asked them if they had ever been to Japan or if that was a place they wanted to go, because our last 2 episodes have been happening in Japan.
Well, I have never been to Japan. It is a place I would love to go to. It's a place I've always wanted to go to ever since a lot of tech and things started coming out of Japan, I guess, since I was kind of aware that it was a big tech kind of capital. And I guess when I was younger and Pokemon and things, like we started to get a lot of Japanese influence here in the UK, and I'm guessing across the world.
Just
I think since then, I think since then I've always wanted to go to Japan, but I've never been. How about you?
I have never been, but I really, really want to go. I want to experience Tokyo, like the craziness, and see all the weird stuff, all the absurd shit. And then I want to go to the middle of nowhere and just see the real Japan and the nature and
we
taste the
together
tea.
we together play a lot of GeoGuessr.
We do.
And no other country, I don't think, is as kind of night and day as Japan is between its major cities and its villages.
Yeah.
It is so
It's just so
radical.
fascinating.
Yeah.
So it's definitely on the to-do list.
My question was, I want to know if anybody has any good ideas for perks that survivors could have to create diversions towards the killers. Do you have any ideas, any thoughts?
Nothing.
No? Nothing
at all.
No.
I'm so sorry, but
no.
I don't have the brain capacity for that.
I quite like the idea of, do you know how diversion, the perk diversion leaves the scratch marks when you throw the pebble? I like the idea of a Hansel and Gretel kind of thing, where you can leave little breadcrumbs behind you, but like that turns out like after 10 seconds or something, that turns into a trail. So your trail kind of lingers longer, and then the next part that you've run away from is gone.
Yeah.
So you're laying a fake trail.
My brain can't compute that.
Well, in my head, it sounds amazing. So
Well done, Dog Bun.
basically, it makes you press the perk and you start running, and it leaves a trail as normal.
Yeah.
But then, as you do your next, after 10 seconds or so, however many seconds, the next part of your trail that disappears, and your old trail reappears, confusing the killer. Maybe they think you've
I'm
gone backwards, back on
so
yourself.
sorry that people cannot see your hand movements right now and your faceless expression, trying to ooh, confusing the killers, confusion.
I'm trying to explain it to you. You look more confused than the killers right now. Maybe
Wow.
it's because you're a killer main now. Maybe that's why you're so
Uh-huh.
confused.
Mm-hmm.
We did get some answers from others on last week's episode. So Shadow Lou said, this episode was a derail. Well done. Good pun. Another great episode. I can't get enough of this podcast. Keep up the fantastic work. We will, as long as people keep listening. When I first heard of the chapter, I thought Adam might have been a teacher to the spirit, but still tragic. But heroine. Yes, no, that wasn't the case. But yeah, I understand why you would think that. For the questions, I always want to go to Japan. For perks, maybe where you can create a noise maker like an Alien Isolation. I like that idea. So you put like a thing down on the ground and that makes noise for a bit.
Yeah.
Or maybe creating a dummy survivor that you can throw over pallets and lockers. Now, I can't picture how that one would work. I like it, but also it seems a bit goofy. I like the sound of it though. It sounds very funny. A question for you both again. Which killer has the best chase music? I'm not going to answer that because that might be my question for next week, because we're going to talk a lot about chase music today when
Oh,
we talk
okay.
about the Legion. So let's hold off on that one, Lemon,
Yes,
and
deal.
maybe we'll answer it next week.
Okay, deal.
Disco DH says, Fab podcast as usual. Great to hear Adam's story and learn about his perks. I've never been to Japan, but would love to go and do photography there, as well as try out the food there. Oh yeah, the food, yes.
No, I don't eat fish. So
Well, you'd have to, I'm afraid.
just give me some noodles.
A perk I have in mind, it would be called Sidestepper. Basically, while in chase, you press the button to perform a quick sidestep with a slight haste boost to try and confuse the killer with an exhaustion cooldown. That's kind of cool. That's kind of interesting. So a little bit like Wesker's dash off to the side, but as a survivor to make them kind of whiff through you. That's interesting. Yeah, I can see that having lots of fun uses. We did have some comments on older episodes as well. So on the Spirit, the previous episode, we had one from the Zombie Slayer, who said, the Spirit's lore has always been intriguing to me because she feels like one of the most tragic characters in the game, because she's not evil at all. She's rightfully angry at all the horrible things that happened to her. I actually heard that the reason the Wraith, the Spirit, and the Deathslinger have white eyes is because the entity makes them see the survivors as the people who wronged them.
Oh,
That's interesting, Lemon. That
I
might be
like
something you
that
need to look
idea.
into as our lore queen. Maybe that is something you'll have to look into.
I like being a queen.
We had a comment on an older episode, Jake Park, episode 7, from Jordan Denny, who said, I am a Jake Park main. Well, thank you, Jordan. I hope you haven't
Yay.
just listened to that episode, and I hope you've listened to other ones, but we appreciate the comment. And one on Huntress, episode 16, from Alice's Bones, which said, Kate's Alice is my main. You know the Alice in Wonderland
Yeah.
get up for Kate? Yeah, that's cool. I like the Alice in Wonderland stuff, particularly Ace's Mad
For
Hatter
Ace,
outfit.
yeah. Because that always makes me tell you to take it off.
Have you played anything else other than Dead by Daylight this week, Lemon? Anything else?
Don't think so.
No,
It's
no,
been a
neither have
short
I.
week.
Well, I've been doing so much IRL streaming this week. I've done no other streams other than I did one Dead by Daylight stream where I did Ace Look on the event, but then all of my other streams pretty much have been
Yeah,
IRL or party night.
party night.
Yeah, so nothing else this week. Hmm.
No,
Any interesting games on Dead by Daylight? Anything stood out to you this week?
nothing else that me being an epic killer.
We are going to talk about that. I promise we will get round to that eventually. Your epic killer games. Well, I mean, there's not much happening in our Dead by Daylight games, and there's not much happening in the world of Dead by Daylight, to be honest. The event's continuing. It does end soon.
Yeah.
2 days as of time of recording. And there's no real news. They have ramped up the cosmetics competition. They've given more rules to that. There's been some discussion around AI and the use of AI within the competition. It's essentially a no-no, obviously, and thankfully.
Haven't they also asked for some characters not to get?
They have, yeah. So anyone
Yeah.
who's won already, they've asked
Oh,
not for those characters to be used again. So yeah. And today, again, time of recording, Huntress Iron Maiden has been released. The Eddie skin. I've not seen it in the wild yet. I do like the look of it. I probably won't buy it, but I do like the look of it.
oh,
So
I have
that's
not
out
seen that yet.
today. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. Check it out. Check it out. Next week, we're going to see some more outfits from the Rift. We're also going to see a new Rift Pass. Hooray! That is July the 21st. The new Rift
That's a
Pass. I'm
Tuesday.
away.
I'm not.
So I'm going to miss the release of the Rift Pass, but I will absolutely grab it when I get back and play it after that. But I think we will be recording before it's released, so that's
Yeah.
exciting. And then the following week sees that Summer Screams event, which I know a little bit more about now, Lemon. It is a Chaos Shuffle event, which I know is not your favorite, but
But I
is one of
hope
my faves.
that since we have started the podcast and you
Mhm.
have been talking about so many different perks,
Mhm.
I hope some of them will have gotten just a tiny bit stuck in my brain.
Mhm.
So now I actually know what I have.
I hope so. I hope it does help
So
you, and I hope it helps some other people.
hopefully it won't be as bad as it used to be. Me running
Good.
around pretending I have no perks.
Well, someone who does have perks is this week's character. It is the knives, the frenzy, and the teenage fury of the Legion.
So I feel a bit pressured this week because Dogbone said he was excited to hear about the Legion. And I know he has been reading the comics. So I am so nervous. But today we are talking about one of Dead by Daylight's most unusual killers. Unlike most of the killers in the fog, the Legion isn't a monster, a supernatural being, or someone driven by centuries of revenge. They are just 4 teenagers. Or at least they started that way. The story is about boredom, belonging, manipulation, and how one terrible decision can snowball into something none of them can ever escape. But let us start with Frank. Frank Morrison was 19 years old and already felt like life had written him off. His childhood had been anything but stable. When he was 6 years old, he was taken away from his family in Calgary and entered the foster care system. Every time he lashed out, got into fights, or caused trouble, he was simply moved somewhere else, a new house, a new family, but same loneliness. Eventually, he ended up in a small Canadian town of Ormond with his latest foster father, Clive Andrews. Calling Clive a parent would be generous. He was more interested in spending the money he received from family service at the local bar than raising a teenager. Frank was basically left to fend for himself. Ormond itself didn't help. Grey winters seemed endless. The town was isolated, quiet, and painfully boring. Frank wandered out almost immediately and tried to find another adoptive family. But then something changed. One day, Julie noticed him. Julie wasn't like everyone else in Ormond. She loved drawing and spent a lot of time sketching people around town. One afternoon, she noticed Frank waiting in line for a hot chocolate and decided to draw him. Frank walked over and asked, So, you are an artist? Julie brushed it off, saying she only doodled to escape how boring Ormond was. Frank laughed. Then they talked about school, and he told her school wasn't education, it was brainwashing. Real education, he argued, would be teaching philosophy and critical thinking instead of preparing people to work the same job every day for the rest of their lives. Julie had never met anyone like him. He wasn't from Ormond. He wasn't impressed by Ormond. And he seemed completely free. Before they left, she invited him to a party she was hosting, and he accepted. Frank arrived carrying drinks and drugs, and before long, he had met Julie's two closest friends, Joey and Susie. The four of them spent the evening talking about horror films, serial killers, and anything dark they could think of. Later that night, Julie showed Frank her collection of newspaper clippings and scrapbook pages about famous murderers. Instead of finding it strange, Frank joined in. The two of them tried to outdo each other with gruesome stories and criminal trivia until everyone else had either gone home or passed out. Julie told him about the abandoned cabin on Mount Ormond. According to her, it had once been the home to a legendary gang called the Soldiers of Mayhem. Frank laughed. There had never been such a gang. Julia smiled. Not yet. She grabbed a marker and wrote Soldiers of Mayhem across Frank's shirt. Frank looked down at it. I like the idea, but I hate the name. This was the beginning of something neither of them fully understood. Julie quickly became convinced that Frank was her soulmate. Not because he was kind, not because he was romantic, because he challenged everything. Together they mocked authorities, laughed at people who took themselves too seriously, and looked for ways to push people's buttons. Frank even developed a name for the people they targeted. Ugly people. Not ugly on the outside. Ugly because they always had to be right. Like their teachers, the politicians, anyone who acted superior. Julie loved the idea. Frank made her believe the world belonged to people willing to take it. One night, Julie confessed something she'd never told anyone before. Sometimes, she imagined burning down the entire town. Frank didn't tell her that she was crazy. Instead, he leaned closer. He said she could do anything she wanted. The trick, according to Frank, was seeing yourself doing it first. Picture it clearly, believing it. Then the world would somehow move in your favor. The others laughed at the idea, but Julie didn't. She closed her eyes and imagined Almond becoming their playground. Soon, the 4 teenagers had claimed the abandoned cabin as their headquarters. And one day, Joey and Susie arrived carrying stolen road signs after causing a string of traffic accidents. But thankfully, nobody had died. But several people have been seriously injured. To them, that was exciting. The walls of the cabin slowly filled with trophies from their crimes, stolen car emblems, road signs, photographies. Julie even made artwork celebrating everything they'd done together, and Frank liked it. One day, Julie was making a snow globe. When she showed it to Frank, he said that the people in the snow globe should have been real victims instead of the snowman that Julie had made. Julie quietly replied, "They are." Hidden beneath the fake snow was a tiny stick figure burning alive. Frank smiled and said, "Nice." As time passed, Julie noticed something changing inside herself. She no longer imagined harmless vandalism, she imagined murder. Not because she hated anyone, because she wanted Almond to matter. She imagined newspapers writing about a mysterious group of killers terrorizing the town. She imagined becoming unforgettable. Then her phone rang. Frank wanted everyone to meet at the abandoned Majestic Theater. When Julie arrived, Joey and Susie were already waiting beside empty fuel cans. Frank handed Julie a single match. "Please, do the honors." She struck it. For a second, it almost went out in the freezing wind, but then she threw it. Moments later, the theater exploded into flames. Julie stared at the fire, then at Frank, then back at the fire again. For one brief moment, she genuinely believed Frank had been right, that somehow the universe really was working in their favor. Back at the cabin, they stared. Back at the cabin, they started talking about who they really wanted to become. Susie thought they should wear costumes. Joey wanted a cool name. Frank joked that maybe they should become famous. Julie laughed. Nobody became famous for stealing road signs. If they wanted people to remember them, they needed to do something real. Frank looked directly at her. What does real mean? Julie hesitated. Then Frank asked a question neither of them answered honestly. Do you think you could kill someone? Julie said she could. Frank didn't believe her. She teased him. What about you? Would you kill for me? Frank smiled and said, No, not even for you. She answered exactly the same, neither of them realizing that they both was lying. Joey was the only one in the group that was working. But he lost yet another job. Frank had won a bet about how long Joey would last at the job. The owner accused Joey of stealing a chocolate bar. Frank didn't care about the chocolate. He saw an opportunity. He suggested they go back, not to steal, but to burn the entire place down. And they needed supplies anyway. And they needed something bigger, something unforgettable, something worthy of a name. The name came soon after. Julie looked at her friends and everything they have done together, at everything they still wanted to become. And then she finally said it. The Legion. Simple, anonymous, a name that belonged to all four of them instead of just one. Not long after, everything changed forever. The group broke into a local store after closing time. Frank expected the building to be empty, but it wasn't. A cleaner was still inside. When the man grabbed Julie, Frank reacted without thinking. Knife in hand, he stabbed the cleaner in the back. The room fell silent. Joey, Julie, Susie, all frozen in shock. Then Frank gave an order. Finish it. Joey stabbed the man. Julie forced herself to do the same. Susie, she couldn't. She didn't want to. Frank grabbed her trembling hands and drove the knife into the cleaner's throat. Whether she wanted to or not, they were all involved now. There was no going back. The four of them cleaned the blood from the floor, stuffed the body into Joey's car, and drove them into the snowy woods near Mount Ormond. As they dug a grave, Frank noticed some movements in the trees. He wandered away to investigate. Then the fog rolled in, thicker than any natural mist. It swallowed him whole. Julie, Joey, and Susie followed his footprints in the woods. None of them ever came back. Back in Ormond, everybody assumed that the teenagers had simply run away together, until a body was discovered near the abandoned lodge. The town finally realized something terrible had happened. But by then, Frank, Julie, Joey, and Susie already belonged to the entity. So that was the Legion.
Very good. Very good.
Oh, I was so nervous since it
What do you
was you.
What do you think
isn't
about
it?
the Legion as a killer, as an idea?
As an idea, the whole
Mm,
four teenagers love it.
mm.
But I also feel so sad for the 4 teenagers that nobody was there for them
Mm.
to help them in life, whatever they, like, wanted to be or become, that they have nobody to love them.
It's an interesting concept, isn't it? Having a group of people be the killer.
Mm,
Um, Also, when you play as the Legion, are you playing as one person, or has the entity, like, mashed them all together into one being?
yeah.
Um, is it just the mask that you choose? Is
Mm,
that who you become? It's very intriguing, in
yeah.
terms of them in the fog. But yeah,
But
thank
I
you,
like
11.
it. I like the
Thank you.
story about Legion more than I like being up against Legion.
Mm. How did you look at the comic at all, or did you not manage to get hold of a
No,
copy of that?
I don't have the comic.
It basically covers the lore that you've just said. There's just a little bit more kind of backstory on individuals.
Mm,
You
I
get to
only use
kind of
the in-game bio and the tome 3.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You get to learn that Susie is a lesbian in the comics.
Aw.
Um, she is. It doesn't go into much detail, but it does show her kissing Julie in a dream.
Aw.
And also in the comic, Julie is interested in Frank. So it's an unrequited
Yeah.
love situation.
What about Joey? Is he just, on his own? Nobody
Uh,
wants Joey?
and well, nobody wants Joey, but Joey, yeah, it talks about Joey
Wow.
losing his job and stuff in the comic book.
Poor
And
guy.
yeah, there's not like a big love square going on. It's just I
It's
just like the
tough to
fact
be
that
a
they
teenager.
I like that they touched on it in the comic book though.
But could you tell us about their perks?
Sure thing. The Legion. Frank, Julie, Susie, Joey are unlike any other killer in the game, and not just because there are four of them. Most of the killers are built around isolating a single survivor and completing a chase. The Legion is built around spreading their damage as far, as wide, as fast as possible. They don't win by being amazingly scary at loops. They win by making every single survivor on the map injured, forcing them to mend, forcing them to heal, and punishing them before they go into their next frenzy. Teenagers with hunting knives and an entity fuel power, which is terrifying and deeply chaotic. At the heart of the Legion is their power Feral Frenzy. At 5.2 meters per second, they're one of the fastest killers in the game during their frenzy, and they can vault pallets and windows. And crucially, you can feral slash through all four survivors in a sequence, inflicting deep wound on each without it ending. Hit one survivor, keep on running, hit another survivor, keep on running, and then eventually everyone's injured and on a 20-second bleed out timer. They have a catch. Their catch is that they don't directly kill anyone. A slash can put the survivors into deep wound, but not the dying state. And to actually down someone, you have to end the frenzy and land a basic attack. Or if you've hit five different survivors, that fifth one will put the last one straight on the ground. That's a mechanic which is very real, but very, very rare. If you hit the same survivor twice in a frenzy, it will end the frenzy and have a cooldown. And you need to, therefore, keep moving between targets and not fixate on one. They are an incredibly contested killer. They have a bit of a storied history in Dead by Daylight. When they were released, it was enormously controversial. They had mechanics which led to very passive, frustrating gameplay, and it was reworked quite extensively. And the version that we have now is much more engaging, but still quite controversial, and there is still a debate as to whether they're fun to face. We have some trivia, Lemon. We have trivia. We have firsts again. The Legion was the first killer with an ability that allows it to vault, capable of vaulting pulled down pallets. They are also the only killer to date to be made up of multiple members. Two come from when you buy the killer, Frank and Julie, and you can add two more by adding cosmetics for Joey and Susie. They were also the first character to come with 2 sets of prestige cosmetics for, again, Frank and Julie. The Legion, and we're going to talk about this quite a lot later, is the first killer whose chase music can be modified by another factor within the game. They're mixtape add-ons. And a small cheer might go up from some people for this one. They were the first killer to be removed from an in-game mode, from the 2 versus 8 game mode. They were seen as being incredibly Legion was being incredibly underpowered, but very annoying to play against, especially when they were paired with the Oni.
I agree. Oh my god.
What do you think about their map, Lemon? Mount Ormond Resort.
I really like it.
Yeah, I like that map as well. That's a good map.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the snow,
I don't mind the snow.
just like the snow effect on your screen. It's a bit,
Well, I'm
but
Nordic, so I don't mind snow.
I guess. Also, I don't know if do you ever look at the chapter logos for the different chapters that we talk about?
No, I haven't for this one.
This one's quite interesting because they are featured in the logo for the chapter. So the chapter's called
Oh, yeah.
Darkness Among Us, and you can see Frank in the D of darkness, Julie is in the K. You can see Joey there in the M, and Susie in the G.
Gee. That's
Very cool.
interesting. Yeah.
Thank you. I do try to be interesting occasionally. Let's talk about the killer. Their special ability is the Feral Frenzy. When the power gauge is full, you can press your power button to enter Feral Frenzy for up to 11 seconds. Your movement speed will increase to 5.2 meters per second. Your terror radius will increase by 8 meters. Basic attacks become Feral Slashes. You can vault over pallets using Feral Vault at medium speed. And if you get a Feral Slash on any survivor, you unlock Killer Instinct, where you get the heartbeats of all survivors within the terror radius. If you hit a survivor while in Feral Slash, you give them a deep wound. They must mend within 20 seconds or they will go into the dying state. Your Feral Frenzy continues and you can keep hitting additional survivors. If you hit the same survivor twice, it will end the power immediately and apply a cooldown. However, if you manage to hit all 4 survivors or 4 survivors who aren't deep wounded, on the 5th, you will immediately down the survivor and put them into the dying state and end the frenzy. It's important to note that Feral Slash is not a basic attack and does not trigger any perks or any achievements or anything that are linked or tied to basic attack conditions. Survivors in Deep Wound have 20 seconds to mend themselves, or they can be mended cooperatively in 6 seconds with help. It takes 10 seconds to mend and can be interrupted by any action. And if the timer expires, you will enter the dying state. Feral Frenzy also recharges passively over time. It has some interesting add-ons. It has the usual numbers add-ons. It also has a whole heap of when they come out of deep wounds, they will have this particular effect type add-ons. But the most interesting ones are the mixtapes, and we'll talk about those in a moment. So there is one called the Iridescent Button, which is an iridescent, which causes all feral vaults to instantly break vaulted pallets. That can be useful in loops. The other iridescent is called Fuming Mixtape. During the Feral Frenzy, the intensity of generator auras reveal their current repair progress, and it causes all partially repaired generators to start regressing. It also, the Fuming Mixtape, unlocks an additional sound layer in the terror radius, enhancing it musically. And that's interesting because this is where their chase music can change. So if you have the Fuming Mixtape as one of the add-ons, their chase music changes. They have a base chase music, and this adds on a layer. If you then add in other mixtapes, and every one of the 4 Legion has a mixtape, it adds a different layer. So you can mix and match your chase music. I think that's cool as heck. So the other mixtapes are Frank's mixtape. It's purple. During Feral Frenzy, you benefit from pausing the power gauge depletion when you do a DAT break or damage action. You increase the action speed for damaging generators and for breaking walls. And it also unlocks an additional sound layer, enhancing it musically. Susie's mixtape is blue, and it increases the detection radius of the killer instinct by 20 meters. That's good. And also enhances your terror radius musically. Joey's mixtape is blue as well. Survivors suffer from hemorrhage status effect until fully healed after mending themselves, and enhances your terror radius. And lastly, Julie's mixtape. That's green. That's the lowest, the lowest of all of them. Instantly recharges Feral Frenzy after being stunned by any means while using it. They're all really good. They all mix together quite nicely. You can find like mixes of them all online if you're that way inclined. You can go and listen to them. And I am that way inclined. I did listen to them. They're really funky. I like them. Last one I wanted to mention was the Legion pin. That's a blue add-on. And that gives survivors the broken status effect if they mend themselves. Broken status for 60 seconds after mending themselves. That can be horrible because it means that you can't get healed. And Legion is all about keeping people injured. But yeah, mess around with the mixtapes sometime, everyone. Mess around with them and try and find your favorite chase music. They also have 3 teachable perks. And in alphabetical order, they start with Discordance. Any generator within the range of 128 meters that's been repaired by 2 or more survivors is highlighted by a yellow aura. When the generator is first highlighted, it triggers a loud noise notification on that gen, and after it's no longer in range or being repaired by just 1 survivor, the aura lingers for an additional 4 seconds. When this first came out, Tier 1 was more effective than Tier 3 because it had a shorter aura highlight duration, which meant that killers could get more frequent updates, and it meant that some players deliberately avoided unlocking higher tiers, but that has since been fixed. Interestingly, whenever the Nemesis uses this, zombies will immediately beeline to that generator no matter where they are on the map. So if a generator has 2 survivors and the killer has Discordance, the zombies will immediately start heading towards that generator. no matter where they are. They could be on the other side of the map. Interesting synergy. This is one of the best information perks in the game. If you know that a generator has 2 or more survivors on, you know where half the team is and you know exactly where to go. It's really good on any killer who can close distance quickly. Legion themselves, Blight, Nurse, Wesker. It can also be really good on Artist. I personally run this on Artist, so it shows you where to fire your birds across the map. And it forces survivors to make a choice, work together or split up and slow down. Both of these can benefit the killer. It's broadly useful on any killer that isn't already running full information builds. Their second perk is Iron Maiden. You open lockers 50% faster, and any survivors who exit a locker suffer from exposed for 30 seconds and give out a scream which reveals their location for 4 seconds. Um, Exposed means that any survivor climbing out the locker can be downed in a single basic attack, regardless of their health state, for 30 seconds after exiting. It's a big window, and any killer that is using lockers frequently, for example, Huntress or Trickster for their reloads, will benefit from the 50% faster search. On Legion specifically, it's very situational. Legions rarely need to open lockers, doesn't really encourage locker hiding. Although a lot of people do hide against Legion. I think people think that Legion, when they go into Feral Frenzy, you can hide from that. That's not true. If you go into a locker while they're in Feral Frenzy, your heartbeat still will beat, and they can still pull you out of that locker just like any other killer can. I wonder whether maybe that wasn't the case when they were thinking of putting these perks together, and that's why Legions come along with this perk. It does work as a bit of an anti-hide deterrent. If survivors know you're running Iron Maiden, they will then consider it again about jumping into lockers. And if anyone's running any locker perks, they will then, it pretty much douses their use of that perk for the whole of the game. Legion's third perk is Mad Grit. Mad Grit activates when you're carrying a survivor. It removes the cooldown if you do a missed basic attack while carrying a survivor. And if you successfully hit another survivor, it pauses the wiggle progress for 4 seconds. It only removes the cooldown on missed attacks that don't interact with anything. If you do happen to hit a obstacle, that does not give you any benefit. Mad Grit pairs incredibly well with Agitation, which gives you increased movement speed while carrying, and Iron Grasp, which reduces the wiggle. If you have all 3 of them, you become a basement killer, essentially. It allows you to deliver survivors to the hooks in basement with pretty much ease, almost anywhere across half of the map around basement. The wiggle pause is the main thing here, I think. If you manage to hit another survivor and you get that extra 4 seconds, you can carry them for miles and miles and miles. It's at its best when you have a very altruistic team against you, and the teammates are trying to body block or rescue. Most of the killers have to stop swinging and play around that and try and get around the survivors. Mad Grit is going to get rid of that completely. If you miss an attack, you can simply swing again. There's no cooldown. You don't get the penalty for whiffing. And it pairs well with any build that focuses on delivering those survivors to hooks. So adding in, as I say, agitation, iron grasp, or something like starstruck, which will expose people near the carried survivor, will work very well. On Legion specifically, it plays into their style pretty well. Just injured everyone with frenzy, and now carrying one while just freely swinging at the others. It's quite thematic in that sense. It can be a lot less valuable in games where survivors play clean and don't attempt any rescues. Some builds you might want to try with the Legion. Maybe a pressure machine Legion, Discordance, Corrupt Intervention, Jolt, and Pop Goes the Weasel to get information, map control, and gen punishment in a single build. Corrupt giving you the early game, Discordance giving you the mid game, and Jolt damaging gens when survivors go down near, and Pop Goes the Weasel punishing every hook with some regression. The map mobility with Legion gives that frenzy and allows you to get to the kick gen much faster and more realistically. Or perhaps you want to play the Swarm build, Discordance, Barbecue and Chili, Nurses Calling, Thanatophobia. This lets you know where everyone is. It punishes them for healing. It slows down the gen progress with Thanatophobia. And you're going to have so much passive pressure. Everyone in deep wound, everyone trying to mend. Thanatophobia just being constantly active, and Nurses Calling is going to tell you exactly where anybody is trying to heal. It's effective, it's oppressive, it's nasty. I hate playing against that sort of Legion. Please don't do that. Not if you're playing against me. Or maybe you want to try that, the Carry Nightmare build, Mad Grit, Agitation, and Iron Grasp, and mix up Starstruck with it. Allows you to get that hook delivery, Agitation speeding up the carrying, Iron Grasp reducing the wiggling, and Mad Grit letting you swing freely without any cooldown, and Starstruck exposing every single survivor. Anyone who attempts a rescue becomes a target, and if you manage to get them into the basement, you will be a legend. Or if you want to go full Legion, Discordance, Mad Grit, Iron Maiden, maybe add on Corrupt Intervention for that early game control. It's not optimal, but it is quite flavorful. So the Legion, they are pretty beginner friendly. It's easy enough to go into power. It's easy enough to run around and get people damaged and into deep wound. Its skill comes from knowing when to end a frenzy, how to chain those hits across multiple targets, and kind of reading the map to know where to go and where to prioritize. In terms of their skills, their perks, Discordance is excellent across the roster. Mad Grit and Iron Maiden are a little bit more situationals, but you will find them consistently effective. Legion is not particularly sweaty. They are often played casualty and have chaotic high action games rather than methodical 3-gen chess matches. But the community perception is that they're fun to play as, but frustration to play against in specific ways. We're talking Thanatophobia and constant deep wound. They have an interesting space on the roster. Their power is unique. Their perk kit has some good perks, and their skill ceiling is moderately high. They are a killer who rewards momentum, keep that frenzy chain going, keep everyone injured, never let survivors breathe. When it clicks, it feels relentless, and when it doesn't, they feel like a fast killer who can't quite finish the job. Lemon, this is your moment. Have you played as the Legion?
Hell yeah. Of course I have.
Tell me
No.
about it.
Well, I had a few Legion games, the other day because
Mhm,
I think the Discord was full or something with survivors. But I, um, I played without the frenzy thing.
mhm,
So and that was just because the view from the killer is different from survivor,
mhm,
and I struggle a bit with that. So I just wanted to learn how to move and, get around on the map before I started
mhm.
to use extra stuff. And that first game, I got a 4K.
You did get a 4K, I
And
believe. Yeah,
I was called a sweaty killer in the chat afterwards and some other
right.
stuff. That was amazing. I loved it.
Wow. And I believe it was your first Killer Adept.
Yes, yes, yes. And it still is.
Just for now, just for now, we're gonna get you all those Killer Adepts eventually.
You think? Well, I
Yeah,
afterwards I did try and do the frenzy thing and I had a full escape and I don't remember the last one, but I had fun. And it was
yeah.
fun to be called a sweaty killer.
In terms of their perks then, do you remember them using them? Like discordance, do you remember the gens going yellow and knowing that there was 2 survivors?
Yes,
Cool.
that worked.
Uh, Iron Maiden, did anyone go in a locker? Did anyone
Not that
scream?
I remember.
No.
No.
And Mad Grit, when you were carrying them, did you know about that? Did you know what it did?
No. No,
No.
I didn't. I found it a bit I had to struggle a bit, like the movement when you're carrying a survivor,
Yeah.
like you can feel. So so that was all about just like trying to move around on the map as a killer and carry survivors, but it worked.
Well,
Okay, sweaty
congratulations.
killer.
Congratulations.
Thank
I have
you.
played quite a bit as Legion. Not because I enjoy it, but because there's a lot of stuff in the tomes to do with Legion.
Oh.
Um, and for a while, Legion was my go-to killer. If no one was around, I would put Legion on and just play like a dick. Because they do lend themselves to that thing of
They
just run
do.
around and injure everyone. I wouldn't particularly go for kills. It would just be that I would play that build that I mentioned, the nasty swarm build. I would run Discordance, I would run Barbecue and Chili, I would run Nurse's Calling and Thanatophobia. And I would have the add-ons that stop them from healing, slow down their healing, make them hemorrhage more,
That's
and
that's
yeah.
awful.
Coulrophobia I would take in as well. That's the one that makes the skill checks for healing harder.
Oh.
It was nasty and
Yeah,
horrible, but it made me feel good. So that's why I
I
ran
believe
it.
you. I know you, so therefore I believe you.
Every week, we like to pick a creator from the world of Dead by Daylight, whether that be a streamer, an artist, or someone else. And this week, we have picked Watsy123. Watsy123. They are a streamer on Twitch. You can find them at twitch.tv/Watsy123, spelled WATTSIE 123. Are you aware of Watsy, Lemon?
Yeah, I am.
Me too. And the reason I've picked them this week isn't because they're amazing at Dead by Daylight, although they are. And it
Mm,
isn't because they're multi-talented and it's quite annoying how talented they are. They can make stuff in 3D and draw on everything, but they
yeah, art
can.
streams, yeah.
They're amazing. They are
Mm.
amazing. But the reason why we picked them this week is because I've had so much fun playing with Watsy during 2 versus 8. And when Legion was first added to 2 versus 8, and they were every single match,
Yeah.
um, Watsy and I had so much fun just telling each other, "It's Legion, by the way. It's Legion, by the way. We were on voice chat, I think on Whatsy's stream, and every game, it's Legion, by the way. Oh, Watsy, it's Legion, by the way.
Wow.
It's Legion, by the way. I was quite sad when they were removed because I knew that we would never get to say that again. But we still
Aw.
do. But yeah,
It's the
go and
small
check out
pleasures.
Watsy. Watsy's had a bit of a break from Twitch recently. He's been on holiday for one, which is great, but also has been moving his streaming setup around. But he's getting back into full-time streaming, and you should absolutely go and check out Watsy. Loads of fun, a great Dead by Daylight player,
Yeah.
and just a funny guy.
Yes.
All links in the show notes as usual. Lemon, who is next week's character?
Next week, we're going to talk about Jeff Johansson.
Jeff Johansson.
Or,
This-
as I would say in Danish, Jeff Johansson.
Jeff Johansson. Is he part of the same chapter?
Yes, he is.
Interesting.
So, I'm looking forward to see if there's a connection.
Me too. As a reminder, we do have a website, beyondcampfire.com. It has links to all of our major podcast platforms, and it tells you where you can find and follow us. And follow us, you are still doing. Thank you again, everyone who's followed this week. We've had a bunch more follows on Spotify and across some of our other socials, and we
And we
appreciate
love
it.
it.
We do. And we also appreciate all of your comments. So please keep
Yes.
those coming as well.
Mm,
That being said, Lemon, do you have a question for this week?
yes. I would like to know if people have been in a gang, but it doesn't have to be like a murderous gang or a criminal gang. It could be a crochet gang or a skateboarding gang or I don't know. Have anybody been in a gang?
So like a club?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But called it a gang.
But call it a gang. Okay.
Yes.
Brilliant. Good question. My question, I have stolen from Shadowloo. Which killer do you think has the best chase music? Which killer do you think has the best chase music? And I'm gonna add on to that. How do you think the mixtape thing is cool as heck for Legion? And do you wish that it would be extended to other killers? Because I do. I think that's very cool. And I could see it being used really well across so many different killers. So have a think about that before you just comment very quickly. No. Have a proper think. Think about your favorite chase music and think about how it could be changed for the better.
But please come back and make a comment.
Oh yeah,
Don't
yeah.
forget
Please
that.
come back. Please come back and make a comment.
Because we love them.
And while everyone tunes into their favorite killer chase music and has a proper think about it, remember, play safe out there and don't get hooked.